This past spring, students in Meteo 482, also known as Weather Communications 2, spent a few weeks learning how to produce features with a spotlight on climate change communication. They worked on news writing, learned how to edit, and finally took on the task of producing a feature of their own. They picked a topic from Climate Central, gathered the facts and data, and then began writing. Once the script was proofed and given the green light, the editing process began. 3 of those completed features are going to be aired tonight on Weather World. You're going to see how climate change is impacting the coffee industry, grocery prices, as well as the frequency of power outages.
Some might say that there's no better way to start the day than with a cup of coffee. Over 2 billion people worldwide reach for a cup daily. However, the availability of this morning delight could begin to dwindle due to climate change. Extreme weather in what is referred to as the Bean Belt has created a decrease in coffee bean production, which has increased the price of coffee beans. The Bean Belt are land masses located in the equatorial region between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Countries within the Bean Belt are responsible for 97% of global coffee production. The Bean Belt's biggest threat is prolonged increased temperatures. Temperatures above 86 degrees Fahrenheit are considered coffee-harming heat within the Bean Belt. These temperatures stress the coffee plant, decreasing healthy bean production. According to Climate Central, the top 5 coffee-producing countries experience an average of 56 more days within coffee-harming heat ranges. Nearly 2 months of this heat is enough to stress out the coffee plant, impact bean growth, and increase bean cost. The grounds for a coffee crisis aren't just stress to the coffee plant from increased heat. Coffee plants in the Bean Belt are also now receiving lower than average annual rainfall rates. The folks at Climate Central say that ideal annual rainfall amounts between 59 and 79 inches encourage coffee bean production. That hasn't been happening in several Bean Belt countries where prolonged droughts are limiting bean yields. To diminish the coffee industry's environmental footprint, farmers are becoming Smithsonian bird-friendly certified. By farming sustainably, these producers fight climate change and protect the land that coffee plants rely on. It might be a bit more expensive to reach for a sustainable cup of coffee, but for some, it's better to fork out more cash in order to prevent a caffeine withdrawal crash. Sustainable coffee purchases can help producers thrive for the 2 billion worldwide that rely on their morning cup of joe. For Weather World, I'm student meteorologist Anna Rule.
Climate change is more commonly associated with things like temperature extremes and flooding downpours. But now you can add grocery bills to that list. Shifts in food quality and availability are driving up costs. According to Climate Central, food price inflation could increase by 1.5% annually by 2035 because of climate change. Food security is affected by both long-term trends, such as shifting rainfall patterns, and more frequent extremes like drought, which can cause short-term price hikes. This is already happening. Climate Central reports that prices soared 280% in 2024 after heat waves and drought devastated West African harvest of cocoa. Similarly, in Brazil, a massive drought triggered a 55% global increase in coffee prices. From farm to table, these extremes are placing the entire food chain under stress. According to Climate Central, between 1991 and 2017, warming trends drove a 19% crop insurance loss in the U.S. When harvests suffer, consumers pay the price at the checkout counter. Though grocery costs continue to climb, there are ways to save money on food. Experts suggest planting vegetables such as potatoes and onions, which can be stored for months to reduce repeated purchasing. Even a small garden can offset grocery costs over time, as a single plant can yield all season long. When climate change moves from the headlines into grocery budgets, the effects become personal. We are seeing firsthand how vulnerable our food supply is to environmental changes. But where the supply chain fails, the soil provides. By turning towards self-sufficiency with gardening, we can turn our balconies into a buffer against rising costs. For Weather World, I'm student meteorologist Katrishka Kipp.
You're watching your favorite sports team in a close game. It's coming down to the wire and then boom, the power goes out. You look outside and you see branches being snapped and power lines down. You know it's going to be a long night. Weather is the leading cause of major power outages in the United States. In fact, from 2000 to 2023, about 80% of outages were weather-related. These outages affect millions of people each year and cost billions of dollars. They can disrupt access to clean water, food, and critical healthcare, and can also impact communication networks and transportation systems. As extreme weather becomes more frequent due to climate change, aging energy infrastructure is making these outages even more likely. Weather-related power outages are on the rise. The United States experienced about 2 times more weather-related outages from 2014 to 2023 than from 2000 to 2009. The main cause is the weather, and it can be broken down to the specific type. According to Climate Central, severe weather accounted for 58% of weather-related power outages. Winter weather was second at 23%, followed by tropical cyclones at 14%, extreme heat at 3%, and wildfires at 2%. Most of the outages from 2000 to 2023 were located east of the Mississippi River. However, that does not mean places in the West don't experience them. States like Texas and California are 2 of the top 3 states with the most weather-related power outages. Extreme weather can hit anywhere, meaning the chance for a power outage is always a threat. So the next time you hear about a weather forecast that may cause power outages, make sure to have a plan in place on how to adapt, such as charging devices ahead of time. Or else, Mother Nature might make you miss the big game. For Weather World, I'm Frank Gargione.